I take the pleasure of requesting Lakshmi Praturi, founder Ink Talks, to please join us on stage and welcome our moderator and our speakers. Let's hear a big round of applause for ma'am and welcome her on stage. A hearty warm welcome to you. Thank you for gracing the stage with your valuable presence. I leave the stage to you now to welcome our moderator and our speakers. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. So, I'm originally from Hyderabad, grew up in a very middle-class family. So the word fashion always was very intimidating to me. When someone says fashion, it seems like it's something foreign, like these people who dress beautifully, you'll actually see them in a little while. And they create these amazing things and stuff. And so I used to be very intimidated by it. And then I met Sangita Kathiwada, who is, she's actually the Maharani of Kathiwada. She comes from a royal family. And she runs an amazing design studio in Bombay called Melange. And she has launched many designers. One of the things I get very excited about is finding new talent and giving them a place to shine. And she does that in design. She finds the most amazing people and launches them. And I've gotten to know her. So my fears about fashion have kind of disappeared now, and I visit her store a lot, and what has opened my eyes to is that the idea of design and aesthetics are so important in our lives. What we wear, how we present ourselves is extremely important in this world, and India is full of beautiful textiles and embroideries and designs and materials. So I always tell people that whenever I give a talk, I'm a little overdressed, I know, but I always make sure I wear a sari, and I feel I'm like an unofficial ambassador of Indian textiles across the globe, So I wear, and people ask me, do you want to stand behind a podium? I said, no, I want to stand in the front because I want everybody to see what I'm wearing. If I stand behind the podium, first of all, you can't see anything but my head because I'm short. And secondly, you can't see what some person has spent time creating, So the next session is really going to be about not just the aesthetics and beauty of fashion, and we have now a new designers, new people who are thinking about sustainability in a very different way, who are thinking about textiles in a very different way, in terms of circular economy, etc. So I'm so thrilled, and I've gotten to know Sangita for a long time now, and you go to her house, like every corner is so beautifully designed that I think beauty and aesthetics are really what makes a great place to be. And she's somebody who creates that for many designers. She's had a business for 25 years, and she has created that for many designers. 31 years, okay. And actually, I have to say that when she started the business, one of the people as a chief guest who she invited pretty much predicted she's going to close the shop in a year. Because who's going to pay for sustainable design, all this stuff you talk about in high fashion, right? She's somebody who's managed to have that sustainability and the artisan and high fashion all together, which is a very difficult thing to make happen. So with that, I would love to have Sangita come onto the stage and tell us who she curated to bring for you. Sangita. Okay, please clap as though you had breakfast this morning, okay?
Thank you, Lakshmi. I always said there is no one better than Lakshmi to introduce a speaker. So she obviously is very difficult to come after Lakshmi and say anything to introduce anyone else. But I would love to invite Anavila and Aigana, who are going to be joining us today. So we are going to share with you Anavila's and Aigana's journey in design, fashion and sustainability, and from heritage to haute couture. So we'll first look at these beautiful quotes that you will by and by discover more as we talk, as we go along. We just saw that beautiful hat, which we are going to talk about. Aigana's introduction will happen through the talk, so will Anavila's. And at this point in time, it would be nice for you to wonder, how did I come across a Central Asian designer and an artist? So what was it, Aigana? How did we meet?
Good afternoon, everyone. As usual in life, you never predict the meeting which will bring you to your journey. And my appearance in this stage happened about 7 years ago when I met Sangita, the true ambassador of India. And it happened in a grey and rainy day as usual in London. And I was in my gallery shop. And then suddenly a pop of color came into the shop with my dear friend Dina. And it was Sangita, full of color, vibrating with life and the message from another world. And she was wearing a beautiful necklace, which I happened to have today, and I'll tell you why. I saw the necklace as a messenger from another world, and I asked Sangita, where is it come from? Is it from Native Americans or Mexico? And she said, no, this is from India. And then the next instant, she took it from her neck and put it on my chest, as someone would put a garland of flowers like they do in India. She put it on me, and
just as you put a beautiful hat hand-painted on me without realizing that that's a tradition in India, we, as a mark of respect, we also honor people by putting a headgear.
That's true. Yes, so at this moment we exchanged these two symbolic gestures without even understanding what we are doing. And at this moment, I was truly Kazakh. I am originally from Central Asia, from Kazakhstan. And India was present in Sangita. This is the moment which brought me here. At this point, Sangita met me in my shop, which was the showroom for manifestations art couture, which I'm wearing, which is Sangita wearing today. And I can tell you a little bit more later about it.
Similarly, Anavila happened in my life 10 years ago, and again, I will not like to just introduce them. Through this session, you will find glimpses of who these two beautiful women are, completely from different continents, but all so together with each other, including Lakshmi, who came up in that gorgeous sari. We are so interrelated. All the textiles, the woven fabric, the painted, the hand block printing. And I am so convinced that the soft power of women and creativity can make better bilateral relations than the politicians of the world. So I think women must unite and creativity must bring us all together, drop the boundaries, have non-violent communication, and just create international relationships based on creativity. And that's how Anavila happened in my life 10 years ago. We had Murarka Foundation that would support all designers who are working with sustainability, at which point in time, right at the start, Anavila launched a line of linen saris. You know, we were so wonderfully enjoying cotton saris, khadi saris, silk saris, brocade saris. but not much was done when it came to creating a linen saris. It was people just loved it, and it was a great joy and pleasure to bring her to the stage to showcase her creation, and she will share more with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to be here and, sharing our experiences and how we created these brands with Sangita, who actually is a very strong cornerstone in my journey as a brand. This goes around 11 years back, 2014. I had just started working with linen as a yarn on handlooms. And quietly working in a corner and with no idea or interest in showcasing my work on a Fashion Week platform, when I got a call from Lakme Fashion Week that Morarka Foundation wants to sponsor a show with 3 designers who work in the space of sustainability and hand-woven textiles, and they really want you to show your collection. And I had was quite, was inhibited in going forward because it's one thing to create textiles on the looms and to present them on a ramp with, the kind of styling you have to do and how you want to narrate a story of a particular collection is another. So I was very hesitant, but all of these guys really prompted me, helped me, pushed me to come to the stage. And I think it was also for the first time when we showed that collection on the ramp, that there was a collection which, on a Fashion Week ramp, which had only saris. I think that kind of broke the glass ceiling for the Fashion Week as well. We presented 12 saris, draped in very, very traditional drapes, which came from Indian villages. Because 12 years ago, when we were talking 11 years ago, mostly the girls and women in city were not wearing saris so much. And the village women were still adorning saris, doing all the physical work, going about their day, beautifully draped in a sari. So that concept of comfort in a sari, we wanted to present on the ramp. So the girls from Jharkhand who were working with us, our artisans, help us create those drapes on the ramp. And I think what happened at that show was something which defined the path of our brand thereon.
It would be lovely for some of our international audience who are in the hall here to see how an Indian woman can wear 6 meters of fabric and has her own drape and design. Each Indian woman is a designer, and by wearing sari, each one carries it differently. And we didn't wear the stitch cloth that came much later from the Western influence. So we would love to show you something which Anavila presented as the unstitched garment, which is so stitched in a manner that you want to weave it around yourself. So like a sari full of memories, sari full of emotions, there's so much more that this 6-yard does. And we would love to show you that.
Yeah, so if, when you look at draping, you look at haute couture, you look at made to size, couture garments, India has been doing it for a very long time and in a very specific, very personal way. Most of the women still in the villages drape their saris, very aware of their bodies and very aware of the textile which they're using to drape them around. And this small showcase which we are just going to show you of one of the shows was actually, I'm very happy sitting in the south of India, inspired by the drapes from south of India. There was a lot of research which was done into how women, we have a lot of books on history and textiles where we have images from South India where women actually wore saris without any stitched garment with it, no blouse, no petticoat, and the way the sari was draped was couture in itself. So I would like to show that, which we presented, without pins, without buttons, different drapes.
No zips, no buttons, no tucks. It's just so comfortable.
And what you see here is mostly linen, hand block printed with resist print technique using mud. in the cluster of Dabu cluster of Rajasthan. And we'd also like to say that sari is such a democratic garment. You know, you don't need to be a certain shape, size, height to look fascinating, to look yourself in a sari. It just takes your contour and brings the best out of you. I feel most confident when I'm in a sari. As Lakshmi was previously saying that she likes to wear sari when she goes to international platform. I feel there is another, it brings about femininity, strength in such a beautiful way that it's my go-to garment every time I'm presenting my work or India. This also shows, different yarns coming together. So linen on a warp, then zari going through in the weft, linen in the warp and jamdani through weaves, and then block printing.
So just as a sari keeps you draped with love, beauty, warmth, emotions, it also gets handed down from generation to generation. So we are talking about haute couture, but what is better than an haute couture that gets passed down from generation, which is totally handmade? And India is the original land of haute couture, from heritage to haute couture, because we made things by hand. Similarly, Aigana, there's such amazing similarities between Anavila here and Aigana sitting here, Central Asia, India. Similarly, she wraps a lot of stuff in that coat. So I want to ask her, why the coat? Aigana, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Sangita. I'm sitting here admiring your work, Anavila, and I'm thinking about what a long conversation we have between sari and the coat. And coming from Central Asia, we are originally nomadic culture, so we would not survive in sari, for sure. We spend our lives on horses, and it's a very hostile environment, and being travelers, you have to be very compact in your possessions, so you only reduce your life to things which are absolutely important for you. And this brings me back to why I chosen the coat as my main hero, my main character, because coat is everything for the nomad. It plays a huge role in identification as well, because when you travel within the steppes, you sometimes find yourself in a territory of another tribe, and where it's very important for you to be recognized where you're coming from and what is your message to the world. So each coat would bring a symbol of who you are and will tell everything about you, about your position, about your where you belong. And I prepared a little film for you, but before you see it, just wanted to answer to Lakshmi about your fear towards fashion. I have a similar feeling towards fashion always. It wasn't a fear, but it was I was naturally adverted to fashion for some reason, in a way that I never wanted to be, me personally, I never wanted to be a part of any current. I wanted to be myself. This was a huge need in me of being myself, and this is where I started discovering myself. And my discovery started through theater. I was trained as a ballet dancer and I worked in theater. And when I finished an art school as a fine artist, I went working in a theater as a set and costume designer. where I started expressing the ideas of a writer, of a director, of continuing the story of a hero. And from this point, I had an idea that I can give the costumes to people around me, not those who are artists, but people who play the main role in their life. This is how Manifestations Haute Couture started. I wanted to, the basic product would be a coat, and then Manifestations grew into art home line and art jewelry line. But the main hero stays the coat, and here I want to show you the film. Thank you. Where I come from, your coat is the most important possession. It's your closest friend, it's your shelter, and it's your ID. It says everything about you. I grew up in Kazakhstan. I am from the steppes, and we are nomadic culture historically, and it's a completely different mentality to the settled nations. I design my coats in a very simple, minimalistic way. They stand outside any fashion current. They belong to no time and no land. And for me, the most important part of the design was to create perfect canvases for art to survive the time and the style of a contemporary nomad who travel from one place to another, who lives on no one's land. In a way, my art finishes and my symbols, it is something which you apply once, and you can never remove this. You can add to it, but you never change it completely. It's forever part of your story. Another very important aspect of this project for me is which fabric I use. Again, coming back to my culture, fabric is precious. The huge part of Silk Road, every single scrap of the fabric was used and cherished. What I do now, I search for leftovers from big names. I search for precious silks, precious wools and cashmeres, and I use them for my limited edition coats. These coats are made by the best European tailors, and then they come back to my studio as blank canvases where I hand paint them. I developed a lot of painting techniques to work on cashmere because it's not straightforward surface for painting. I use a lot of gold leaf, silver leaf and crystal embroidery to manifest my stories on these coats. The imagery that I use on my coats is truly nomadic. I travel from one culture to another, and I use symbols from different cultures and myths. We all carry our stories on our backs. When people come to my studio, they recognize their story. This is where I feel that message was delivered. And they step into this coat, and they take it outside my studio to live their personal story. That's why I called it Manifestations.
That just brings me to share something about Fulkari. When a girl is born in the family, the grandmother or the great-grandmother starts making a shawl for her by her hand, which then the grandmother adds to, then the mother adds to, and the sisters add to. And this is the beautiful garment that she is given at the time she gets married in her trousseau. I mean, how beautiful is that? The emotions, the feelings, the love that's given to a girl when she gets married and goes to her in-laws' home. Similarly, there is love in what you create, Aigana, and what you do, Anavila, because it's so handmade. It's so precious. It's not coming out of factories. You know, in the name of fast fashion, we are doing so much damage to planet Earth because you wear it for 3 months and change into something else. But when you have an heirloom sari or an object that was created by hand, you carry it down from generations to generation. a sari that she's wearing, she'll give it to her daughter one day and the daughter to her daughter. Similarly, a coat you could wear for all your life. You know, you could wear it on anything. You could wear it on a dress, on trousers, and you could continue sharing it with people because it's also so free-flowing and makes you feel so good. And I know that there is beauty in the handmade and the resilience as the sustainability, as you all know. I remember my grandmother wearing a little blouse and I would walk into her room and she had coins attached to it. So I said, why have you got coins which are stitched onto the blouse? I want to pull one and go and buy some candy. And she explained that those coins were made to fix there so that when she lifted her arm, the blouse won't lift with her, the weight will keep it down. I mean, that's the beauty of handmade, where you keep improvising for your need. On that point, I really want to ask you, Anavila, a little bit about your journey of what prompted you to make the khadi, the hand-spun, hand-woven, and to do the saris. What was it? What was the pressing need for you to do this?
So, you know, before working on my brand, I'm a designer by training from National Institute of Fashion Technology, Delhi. I did a corporate job for 3 years and actually was designing menswear. And then one of my faculty from NIFT called me because they had a wonderful project from Ministry of Rural Development where they had to work with craft clusters across India. There were 21 to 22 crafts and textile clusters they were working with, and they wanted project managers who had worked in the corporate sector. So that was my break, the first break into the craft sector of India. And then, you know, I started traveling to all these distant lands with artisans making their beautiful wares. And as we were talking in the morning, me and Sangita, I also, you know, connected dots here that, you know, one of the clusters was Jhabua, which is in Madhya Pradesh, central India. And there were these beautiful daris and beadwork. You know, one of the neck pieces she's wearing. So these artisans were doing this beautiful beadwork, and these guys were doing these beautiful daris, panja daris on looms. And through those 3 years, you know, what fascinated me was that, and I'm talking around 18, 19 years ago, what fascinated me was that there was so much skill, there was so much heritage in each and every corner of India, and very disconnected with what we were consuming in the cities, what we were adorning, and how we looked at fashion. Sitting in a place, sitting in a country which has a heritage which is, you know, if we go 1 million, you know, the first millennium, and we see at the Silk Route, we see at how the globe, you know, everybody globally was enduring, using, and was excited about Indian textiles, and actually was a backbone of that trade route. How we were consuming was very different, and that kind of, you know, made me very uncomfortable as well. The Jhabua artisan I was talking about, the Panjadari maker, was making those daris, and they were just going into a center where they were held. Some of the artisans were making this one piece and putting all their skill into it, and that one piece would go into a bazaar, get sold for, you know, to be a narrative piece on a wall. But that was the reach these artisans had. Very few emporiums or, you know, platforms were available for craft and textiles. And that point of, there were very few brands like Fab India who were actually working on crafts, and there were few stores like yours who were, you know, kind of pushing designers who were working with artisanal products. That was a time when I thought that, you know, this sari is such a fascinating garment. It's so modern in its take if you look at it, but you need to look at it in that point, from that point of view and from those eyes. And I took it on myself to, you know, contemporize the sari. And that's why the choice of yarn was very, very important, because we were flooded with silk and cotton in our markets. And then we had those evening cocktail saris which were full of sequins.
we were talking at various platforms saying that Indian women are not wearing saris anymore, but I feel nobody was giving them solutions which they could embrace. And that was the point when I started experimenting with linen on handloom. The sari which came out after all that work with the artisan was something which was very contemporary. It was a heritage Indian piece because it was a handloom sari, but it had a global appeal to it. And then through our campaigns from that point on, we made sure that every time we show sari, we show it in a context where women can look at it as an everyday wear, can look at sari as everyday luxury, and that was the point which kind of we had a lot of young girls saying that we looked at this campaign or we looked at this sari and we looked at this picture and we wanted to wear a sari. So that was success for me.
So it's wonderful to see some lovely young women wearing saris in the audience. I think India is the only country where we go to work in a sari. No Japanese woman goes to work in a kimono, right? So there's something to say for that. Having said that, I look at Aigana's coat in a similar way, like we have the pitchwise. In our temples, we have a backcloth that talks about like the reverence to the gods, and which are beautifully painted, and there's always a story attached to the pitchwise. So when I see Aigana's coat, it's like you see it, and then when she turns, you actually see the whole story. It's the backcloth. And therefore, it would be great to know how your journey started, Aigana, with design, coats, because she really essentially is an artist who is to paint. And then from there, she started doing wearable art, which you can carry on your backs.
Thank you, Sangita. As you mentioned, I'm an internationally exhibiting artist. I still travel with my paintings everywhere. And painting is something what you have in your home, or in the case when you get into a collection, private collection, corporate collection, sometimes people never see your painting. It's kept privately. So one of the inspirations for me to create coats, wearable coats, was creating wearable canvases, so people can take it outside their homes and translate their story. As Sangita mentioned already about the fact that your clothes is the message to the world. It's the part of your heritage. It's part of your story. So for me, this is the ultimate luxury, to translate your personal story. And for that reason, this is another reason why I chose the coat as my main character, is that it's something which is for the world to see. It's not the dress which you cover underneath. In that sense, sari is what you see. Sari is what you bring outside. And whilst you were talking, I was thinking, as usual, as an artist, I was thinking, sari is the perfect canvas. It's 7 meters long. It's a lot of space to express yourself, to paint. So I will look into it. Interestingly enough, I moved my family to Sri Lanka for a couple of years for the tropical adventure. So for me, seeing people wearing saris every day to work, it was a surprise at first, but then I admired how graceful women look wearing sari. It's such a feminine piece of clothing. I think I went too far.
Yeah, I really want to ask my two beautiful panelists, designers, creators, a question. But that question I'm going to first throw to the audience, and we'll come back to them. Is there anyone here who wants to say, what does luxury, sustainability in design mean to you? Before I ask them, let's see if there's anyone in the audience who wants to say, what does luxury mean to you, or design mean to you, or sustainability in luxury or design? Anyone?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for posing the question to the audience side. I'm Dr. Narayani, representing NMIMS University. I'm the director of the university. Luxury, elegance, and one more point you have said, ma'am? Sustainability.
Sustainability.
See, all the three things put together, it would sound affordability. Second one, elegance. We would like to look for elegance in this one. And third one is minimalistic. That's what, minimalistic. That's what I'm looking for. That's what it means to me, mainly because minimalistic thing should leave for sustainability answer. And it should be affordable and it should be standing out as elegance. So instead of using the word luxury, I would prefer the word elegance. That's what it means to be. Thank you, ma'am.
Elegance is lasting, right? Luxury is short-lived.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you, Anavila, what does luxury mean to you in design?
So, you know, as a brand, the two main pillars for the brand are comfort and minimalism. And for me, comfort is the ultimate, benchmark for luxury, because when you're wearing and you're comfortable, that's most important for clothing. Having said that, luxury for us also, we're sitting here, and luxury for us also means, number of craft hours which have gone into making that one textile, then getting into hands of, tailors or seamstresses when they put that garment together. So luxury actually means the beauty of creating the beautiful garment which has been creating painstakingly, putting your heart and labor together in a beautiful garment which is comfortable and which is beautiful, minimalistic, and which can be carried on from, one generation to another generation.
Aigana.
There are so many aspects to this question, and I would answer as an artist, as a designer. For me, creating a product of luxury is it's a huge responsibility. It's I unable to compromise on quality, on the amount of time I spend on creating a coat. This is my personal way of giving to the world the product of luxury. And the way it happens in my studio is I speak to my clients, and they tell me the stories of their lives, and I translate it into symbols, and I, in a way, become their tool to express their story. And no matter how long it takes for me, no matter how much gold leaf or crystal beads or precious stones I use, it doesn't matter. If the story asks for it, I will do it. This is creating the product of luxury for me.
I also want to address something which was just said by this director from NMIS about affordability of fashion. So affordability is very important, but because we work with artisans and craft clusters, some of them who are into languishing crafts as well, I think one very important aspect of the work which we do in our craft clusters is sustainability. And I not only look at sustainability from a point of view of the textile and how it has been created. That is very important, that it is made from natural textiles. It will not leave an impact on the earth when the user stops using that particular garment or fabric, and it is good to the earth, good to the environment. But a very important factor of sustainability also is sustainable employment. Because when we work with artisans in rural clusters and we've, start that association, it's very important for us to take it a long way. Because it's not only the brand which has to be successful by creating with the craft cluster, it is also the artisans and how their life changes, how they see that, the growth of the brand translates into growth of their lives and, betterment of their life standards. And when we see that, for example, this particular sari, if it is taken a month from it's going on to the loom to be woven, and then the artisans doing the handwork, khatwa applique. I think it comes at a cost, because that cost goes to the artisan for them to be able to better their lives. So when we are talking about affordability, I think it's very, very important for us to consider the various hands which go into creating luxury or a piece of art which comes from our clusters.
You know, luxury and haute couture is such a misunderstood word, and also has so many different meanings to so many different people. At the point in time that marketing came into fashion, when it became a huge economic force to sell fast fashion, we misunderstood everything. The way the heritage and the old traditions understand luxury is very different than the way it got marketed. So more and more awareness will bring to people luxury of the comfort and the handmade. Haute couture is really handmade, and literally speaking, every woman or a man in his or her home can be a weaver, can be an embroiderer, can be a cloth maker, and that's how we have known the world to, in the heritage way of making garments, clothing. So the fashion world, fashion is fickle, style is permanent. So that world just started marketing everything and took the world by storm, because they were able to, what do you say, mind wash, hog wash, green wash, everybody. So let's embrace the old, which is now new. Let's embrace it and feel proud in having less, which is a lot more. So we can ourselves hand embroider. We can all get together and stitch a sari, stitch a story, weave a cloth. So that to me is real luxury. Also interpersonal relationships, that's luxurious to sit together. That's how the communities work. The communities where somebody would need the dough and somebody will make a pot and somebody would paint on it. Similarly, as you will see the Dabu work. So if there's anything that I have left out, and if there's anything that you both might want to address, or somebody, or in the audience, if people want to ask questions. Since we are sitting in south of India, we should be investing in beautiful Karnataka textiles, Mysore silk saris. Everybody after the session, go to the shops. And the Kasuti embroideries that she wants to put on the backs of the coat. She was telling so much about it yesterday. And didn't you mention ikal saris that you want to bring the flavor into your jackets?
The Lambani embroidery, so the Lambani tribe is also like a nomadic tribe who create this beautiful embroidery. You must see that.
Absolutely. Coming back to the person who identified luxury as a minimalism, I don't know how can you be minimalistic in India. Honestly, there is so much choice, so much color and inspiration that you naturally respond to all this festival of color and emotion and design, and you want to possess everything. So it's a very difficult choice. But I'm taking by that every region has so much to offer in terms of textile, and Kazakhstan being one of the biggest parts of Silk Road, is which started from China and coming back to India. So we in Kazakhstan, we are used to pick up little pieces from India and from China and somehow employ it in our possessions. So in my brand, this is the point of sustainability. I also pick up little pieces of fabric, 50 meters, 60 meters, which allow me to create a limited edition of a certain model of the coat, and each coat comes with a tracking number where I can come back and see which fabric I used and which painting I used, so I can always repair if it's needed. Then yes, this is again me talking too much about my coats, but India and textile is the huge inspiration.
So they are all moving to Bangalore and investing in Karnataka, or Karnataka is investing in us, I don't know. But at the moment, let's hear some questions from the audience, if there's any, because I don't know how much time we have. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, yeah?
Hello, yeah. So one question, majorly because we were on the topic of luxury, a trend that we are seeing in the Western country, that luxury as a trend is kind of decreasing, which I read in a report by McKinsey. Whereas in India, it's pretty much the reversal, that there's an upward increase in the trends of luxury. So do you see as a brand, do you see a reversal in the change of Europe?
So, what you're saying about luxury in Europe, so I'm not going to take any names, but if you create a product where the raw material and the cost of creating the product is $10 and you're selling it for $1,000, then you need to understand how you're defining luxury. But in India, when we are talking about products which are luxury, which are handmade, they have, each process can be backtracked, as Aigana was rightly saying, that, if you want to look at an artisanal piece, a Banarsi sari or a Jamawar piece, you know for a fact that how many man-hours have gone into making that one product. And the cost attached to it is the cost of the fine yarns which have been procured, and the time which has been consumed in creating that craft. Not only just the time, but also, all of these pieces are made with ancient heritage knowledge. So when you're talking about one particular pattern, like she is making, her own artwork, but when we talk about Jamawar or when we talk about Banaras, these motifs have been there for centuries. They've evolved in that craft cluster. It is there. We are talking about IPR right now, but it has been, taken from one generation to another generation. So you're not only investing in one textile, which is that particular yarn or that particular design or that particular form, you're also investing in the heritage of that particular community. So we are talking about real luxury here. We are talking about a lot of, years, hundreds of years gone into making that one product which you see today. So I would say we are commanding that price in India now. We are talking about luxury and it is on the rise because we are identifying the true value of our own work in so many ways, For a very long time, our artisans, our craftspeople have been just a resource center for the entire world, for the global community. But very recently, in the last decade or so, we've identified the true value of what we've been creating here and to give it our own language, to give it our own flavor. So that's why the luxury market in India is on a rise and will be, because the consumer understands, the India consumer understands the pain that has gone in making that one product.
Good afternoon, ma'am. So since we are talking on the concept of sustainability and affordability, in the past, let's say 5 to 6 years, we have seen that many consumers in India and in South have created more acceptance towards sustainable fibers or approaching new fibers which were never used. But, I am from South, so let me take an example of South. The most famous type of silk is Mysore silk and Kanjivaram silk. As the acceptance towards sustainable fashion and affordability that comes with this is rising, we also see that, as ma'am mentioned, India is more about spending more or during marriages and festival. We see that they fall back towards Mysore silk or Kanjivaram silk instead of incorporating sustainable fashion even in these special moments. So is there a possibility that we can see that in the coming decade, there may be a potential shift in this culture, or will there be an addition of sustainability with heritage to form a new line of fashion, supposedly?
Okay, I'll say. So Kanjivaram as a cluster, if you know, we have very few families working on the traditional craft now, if you're aware and if you've gone to the cluster. And those particular artisans, weavers are so full of work for a designer like me to go and start working or doing any kind of intervention or collaborative work with them. They're so booked in advance. So, the way we are consuming those heirlooms in South and in weddings, and I think it's a good, so I don't understand where the question of sustainability is coming, because most of these clusters are also using natural dyes, natural materials. They are working with hands. So obviously those textiles are going to be carried from one generation to another generation. So that is already holding, the aspect of sustainability. But to give it I think also for us designers, it is very important to be mindful of what we want to create. I will never want to cut a Kanjivaram sari and create a garment out of it because it is so, so precious. So I think that's why you're not seeing that intervention there as yet.
You know, I don't want to say that we should not cut a Kanjivaram sari. We really should not. But I do think there should be cross-collaboration because that's how we'll bring cultures together. So we can definitely reach out to the weavers who will make short borders for Aigana to put inside her coat. Right, so we want to see that. We want to see international designers using the traditional textiles of India and not coming with their already formed patterns which they come here and then get embroideries made to what they want, which is also great that we are, you know, artisanship is being used. But a true cross collaboration would be when I see Lakshmi wearing a super jacket designed by Aigana on her beautiful sari, or you having a linen coat made from your sari, and then your weavers weaving special things on short, you know, narrow looms, which can be utilized into a contemporary garment, like you yourself are wearing a jacket. But if it had a little bit of Kanjivaram, I would love it. Yeah, Lakshmi.
I also want to, sorry Lakshmi, I just want to say, to answer your question another way is that the Kanjivaram cluster, the painstaking work that is being done there is being imitated very easily on power looms. So that is one area we need to address more than, asking them to make a new product, because then something cheap passes by as a traditional craft, which is something where the policy maybe can help us. And I think the government is really working on it also.
Since there are a lot of young people here, I want us to think about this, is that when a French designer opens a purse shop here and selling purses for 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs, they get sold out in no time, and we complain about a sari being sold for 10,000 rupees. We really should look at ourselves as to why we are doing it. And I really think that all these things they're talking about, there's so much that work goes in. In fact, they should command more to take care of all these artisans. So why are we giving it to someone else and not taking care of our own textiles? So I would like each young person to have 10,000 rupee budget every year to say, I'm going to buy one thing that's going to stay in my family forever, and invest in that, as opposed to buying 50 shirts that are 500 rupees each. So I think we should think about our own behavior as to why do we do not dare bargain a 3 lakh purse, but we will bargain a 500 rupee handmade purse. We really should think about why we are doing that.
Very true.
Fantastic. That's a wonderful note to close on if we must, but you were going to say something.
Absolutely. So on the same way with Lakshmi about, I think coming from the point that we are buying too much, it's always coming from fear, fear, how do I look, how do they see me, and the true luxury for me personally, not as an artist, but as a person, is knowing yourself, being balanced within yourself, and India, of course, knows it for centuries, from the great text of Upanishads, Mahabharata, it all talks about this true luxury of knowing yourself. And when you know yourself, you know that you need so little, and you need truly something what represents you. And answering the question how we can be sustainable, how we can invest in the region, in Karnataka, I think the answer to it is investing in artisans, and the answer to it in collaboration. I think this is the perfect time when the world should unite, when the designers should be united, and what India has to offer is incredible. If the Western designers can bring their innovation in what India already has, it's going to be a great future for all of us.
I think we could say collaboration is the key and not competition. We are not competing with anyone. Let's all collaborate and work together. Thank you very much. I hope we have not taken more time than we were supposed to. Thanks a lot. Thank you to the audience for your attention. Thank you to Inc. for organizing this wonderful
Yes, thank you very much
session.
for having us here.
Thank you, Karnataka.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause for all our dignitaries right here on stage. I request you to please remain back on stage for a few more moments. I request now Lakshmi Praturi to please join us on stage and hand over memento to all our dignitaries on stage. Well, also in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder to you that the plenary hall, the program starts at 6 p.m. where we'll be having the SME Connected Awards and a dinner hosted by Shri Sharana Basappa. So requesting everyone to join us. But post-lunch, we have our next session starting, which is India's next innovation powerhouse, Karnataka's blueprint for Queen City. Well, we'll be starting at 2 p.m., requesting everyone to gather at 2 p.m. for the session. For now, I would like to thank all our dignitaries on stage. Thank you so much for your valuable time and for an incredible session this wonderful afternoon.